Catherine Price has been hailed by the New York Times as the Marie Kondo of brains. Whoa. Hubba hubba, that's a big title. She's an award-winning science journalist, speaker, and author of the book, How to Break Up with Your Phone, the 30-day plan to take back your life, and her follow-up book, The Power of Fun, How to Feel Alive Again. I love both of those titles. Please welcome Catherine to the Tam Fam. Catherine, I have both of your books. I told you the breakup book with the phone, I have that. So in the break, on your phone, you can look up how many hours or minutes you've been spending on social media or on your phone. I did not know this, and we looked it up together, right? You can verify
but
this.
I don't know what it is
You
yet.
don't know.
She has not told me the answer.
I've not told Catherine the answer yet. So according to this app, I average 8 hours and 25 minutes on the phone. I know it's a lot, but this is what's scary. 42 hours a week total screen time. So far, I've spent 42 hours. That's incredible. It says 15 hours on social media. I don't even remember this. I mean, productivity and finance, 4 hours. I'm gonna be broke. 4 hours. I mean, this time, I don't remember any of this, Catherine. Is that common?
Well, you're kind of making my point for me. I should also say, no judgment zone. Like you've been saying all morning, the point is not, so breaking up with your phone doesn't mean dumping your phone. It means a healthier relationship. Like if you break up with a person, you're not saying, I never want to date another human being.
Right.
You're just saying,
not
it's
that
not working.
person.
Just not that person.
Guy, right.
Exactly. So I think actually what you just went through is a really important moment because you look at it and you're like, whoa, how is it so many hours?
Right.
What's the ratio of the hours to productivity to social media? And you don't even remember it, but this is your life.
That's the thing, you know, trying to balance it, because in reality, as we saw, even with Michelle's story, because of the phone, she was able to find out about the accident. You know, in Cam's case, he's addicted to video games, but a friend's text message comes in, and that snaps him out of a dark moment. So there is the bad, we know, right? But then there's the good of the technology that kept us connected through Zoom, kept the show on air. If we didn't have that technology, we wouldn't be here.
I completely agree. I mean, I don't think anyone would want to go through daily life, let alone the pandemic, without technology. But I think the challenge is that there's so many forces working against us when it comes to this, because there's a lot of companies that make money off of stealing our attention from us. So they use a lot of really powerful tricks to get us to keep looking at our screens. And then you get to the situation that we're in now, where we don't get to fully benefit from the good stuff because there's all this very destructive stuff that's also on it. So I personally am pretty angry at the way these products are designed, because it would be possible to have a world that really does prioritize the good stuff, the parts that really do connect us, that make our lives easier and better, instead of just making money. I mean, that 42 hours you spent on social media was making money for social media companies, which I think is important.
And keeping me from making money.
Yes, exactly.
Right, because it's
or
distracting.
living your life. Like,
right, or living my life. And that's the thing. I was recently at the New Edition concert, and there was a moment, I'm like everyone else, it was so awesome, and I'm on my phone. Not in the moment. And I said, wait a minute, I'm for the first time at the New Edition concert, my first concert in 3 years after being locked up, and I'm on the phone. What?
I mean, it is kind of funny, you know, when you go to concerts and you see this, because everyone is just like you're making a kind of poor video, like not great quality of yourself not being in the moment. So what, you're going to watch it afterwards on a small screen? Like if you want a bad video that someone made of a concert, like everyone else around you is filming it, you can just look at their YouTube.
You have advice for us. You can just look at everyone else's YouTube and save your money on the tickets. How can we start getting our attention back? You said create healthy boundaries with your phone. What are those healthy boundaries?
Yeah, it really is all about creating healthy boundaries and establishing this healthy relationship, because the goal ultimately is to turn your phone from this temptation you're trying to resist into a tool that actually makes your life better. So there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, I wrote a book about it, but one thing I'd suggest you start with is actually this almost intention setting practice and this awareness exercise I developed called WWW. And that is short for what for, why now, and what else.
What for, why now, what else? Okay.
And the way it works is that when you notice that you've picked up your phone, which hopefully you will notice, you can even put a hair tie around it so that you actually notice there's something on it, and you're like, why is that there? Do this exercise. So what for, why did you pick up your phone right now? What's the purpose? Did you have a purpose? Maybe it's your friend's birthday, you're buying a present. Maybe you're texting someone in particular. Maybe you didn't have a purpose. The why now is why in this particular moment did you do it? You know, it was your friend's birthday in 3 days, so you had a time-related reason. Most of the time, though, you're going to notice it's emotional. Like you were kind of bored, you wanted a
Yeah.
distraction, you were anxious, you wanted to self-soothe, you were lonely, you wanted to connect. Then you go to the next step, the final step, which is what else? What else can you do in that moment to achieve the same result, perhaps even better? So if you're feeling lonely, maybe you don't go to social media, which is going to make you feel worse after you look
Right.
at it. You actually call a friend.
Ah.
If you need a distraction, go for a walk around the block. Like
Yeah.
you can come up with these alternatives. You might decide you just want to take a full break, which is wonderful because we need a break.
Yeah.
And then you might decide you really do want to be on your phone, and that's great. Like the point is not to arbitrarily restrict phone time, just to make sure that when you look at your phone, it's the result of a conscious choice. So I'd experiment with this exercise.
I like that. When we come back, more with Catherine Price after the break. Don't go anywhere. I love that. You're so great, so effortless. All hour long, we've been talking about the digital distractions, phones, tablets, computers, you name it, even video games. We're talking with Catherine Price, a brilliant writer who talks about how to break up with your phone. And your new book, though, I love this, How to Feel Alive Again. And so much of that is about being in the present. You say, take a look at some of the apps. Do we have too many apps on our phone? But what is one thing, Catherine, that we can do to feel alive again, but balance it with this technology we need?
Well, so I have tons of resources on my site, which is on your site. Yeah. So I would suggest checking that out. But I would say one thing to do is actually what we've been doing today, which is to pay attention to this. That's the first step. Just notice, look around you and the world around you. Notice people on their phones and what they're doing. Notice how it impacts relationships and interactions. Imagine that instead of the phone, people all had flasks or cigarettes, and then ask yourself, would this really not be a problem?
Yeah.
Just because everyone's doing it doesn't mean it's normal or okay. And as we've seen today, it's having serious impacts on our lives. So I'd say the number one thing is to pay attention to that, and then ask yourself, how do you want to be living your life? You get one life. Like, is this how you want to live it? So I think that's the most powerful thing.
Congratulations on all the success.